Trying to step up my game, little pound cakes. What's going on? We're live. It's February 11th, 10:34 p.m. I'm Know Nothing Attorney. I know nothing, so you can too. Because it's only in embracing that we know nothing that we can actually learn anything. And that's what I'm here to do every time I'm live. I hope to learn from you guys, and I hope you can learn along with me. And today we're learning just how embarrassing the DOJ can be. Just how absurdly embarrassing. Boy, it does look like I missed some things in the Discord. Nah, I think I'm caught up. Yeah, we good. Are we gonna talk about Pam Bondi's ballistic melt? Oh, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. I just want to watch Pam Bondi clips for the moment. I just want to watch Pam Bondi clips. It's too beautiful to look away from. There we go. Did you have a favorite from today, Little Pound Cakes? As you should be. As you should be. A national embarrassment, just like the rest of the administration. Let's see. No, to be honest, Forbes did a good job of clipping the highlights. Yeah? Well, maybe we can just go straight to Forbes. That's only 2 minutes. Surely we're not talking 2 minutes of highlights. Hey, good evening, Jamie Joint Jones. How are you? Forbes breaking news. Okay.
Cover up right.
Wow, they just got a bunch of videos, huh? It looks like it's just this first round here. Okay. Let's see what we got. Our meltdown with Ted Lieu. Oh, yeah.
From Wisconsin for 5 minutes.
Attorney General Bondi, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have spent the past several months attacking the administration for doing exactly what the American people wanted when they overwhelmingly elected President Trump, securing our border and enforcing our immigration laws. I find it a bit ironic because this is the same party who just a few years ago were openly supporting strong immigration enforcement after witnessing criminal illegal aliens wreak havoc on the American communities. I have a short video I just wanted to play.
Of immigrants. We're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable.
They've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked, they're gone.
No great nation can be in a position where they can't control their borders.
While we need to address the issue of immigration.
What is this video? What am I watching?
We have of undocumented people in our country. We certainly don't want any more coming in.
Every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before.
His mouth looks like
by
AI.
cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens.
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple.
What is this?
To become immigrants in this country.
Oh my god. Oh my god, a subscription? Oh my god. Little Pound Cakes. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's weird to me. It's weird to me. People can subscribe to my content. That's so strange. I was stop.
What's the Trump administration?
I was just looking at my YouTube channel and I saw like I have 65 subscribers and I like freaked out for a second. I'm like, oh wait, that's really it's really totally different. But it is still kind of weird. Very weird.
Administration, DOJ.
But I appreciate Little Pound Cakes. Thank you.
The open border policies of the prior administration that saw dangerous drugs and criminal aliens flood our communities.
What?
Congressman, President Trump has worked tirelessly, as you...
I don't care about this. Where did the Bondi clips go? Okay.
Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
I stand here
Twitch
not
dad famous. Aw.
in strong opposition to this bill, but in strong opposition to recent efforts by this administration to take over, literally take over, American elections. But not just any American election,
This is
American
not.
election.
I'm gonna get mad. I'm gonna get mad.
Letitia James, Lisa Cook,
No.
Jerome Powell.
Which Forbes video am I supposed to be watching? What's up, Evelyn? How you doing this evening?
From New Jersey, Mr. Van Drew.
Thank you, Chairman.
I'm doing fantastic. I had the night of my life last night, and I
I'm right in front of you.
still giddy about it.
I have to mention this first. You know, I use
It's a hard day of work, but I'm still thriving.
The aisle got mad at me, but hypocrisy. Epstein. But for years on the other side of the aisle, we heard nothing. Crickets.
I did go on a date. It was a very good first date.
Nothing was mentioned basically the last summer, and the ranking member points out that he did do something last year. Yeah, he did a letter complaining about the plea deal for Maxwell, but it wasn't a big deal. Then we get a new administration, and all of a sudden it's a big deal.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank you.
They feign concern, they're upset.
Just in time for Valentine's Day, too, so good time for a second date.
And in fact, Stacey Plaskett, and we all know that name, when they had a congressional hearing, Democratic member, were taking texts from Epstein.
Thank you, little pound cakes.
On questions to ask to go after Trump. So Epstein was using her Democratic colleague as a tool to go after President Trump. Just everybody keep that in mind. And then we talk about ICE and how horrible it is. And there are concerns. Everybody wants everything to go right. Nobody ever wants to see somebody die. And they complain about it. But at the same time, hypocrisy, they encourage constituents to go after.
Okay, God, that's not worth continuing. Thank you.
Recognized for 5
May I
minutes.
respond very briefly to her statement?
Well, I think we can do that
Okay.
probably on
Next.
one of our members' time.
Okay, thank you. I don't want that to get away. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Behind me, I have 3 documents from the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email sent by the victim's lawyers to the DOJ. It was a
Yeah,
list of
I
names
just want some highlights because
a list of
it's
names
good to
not
see
named.
just how
What
embarrassing
did
it
the
is.
DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victims' survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking.
Was there a goal? What do you mean? What was the point of this hearing? I guess to shame the DOJ for the Epstein files.
Co-conspirators.
I respect
Fully
Massey for as
redacted.
left as I am. I would vote for him over a corporate Democrat. At least I know the man has morals. I mean, hey, that's surprising to see on the right.
Wexner is in this.
Have you seen the
Now, your
Dow?
assistant your deputy
I keep seeing that refrain today.
said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files, but he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution. Not
Who
to
was? I
money
missed the
laundering,
name.
Child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over-redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI?
I could not care less about the stock market.
That kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time. Mr. Chairman.
This isn't how this works.
Can I have my time back? Mr. Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from
All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman, may I give
another
my answer on that?
Here's
a political
the question.
joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next question.
It's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a co-conspirator.
And we invited you in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to, you're a failed politician. You need to get on things matter.
I love how she said that about Wexner being a child sex trafficker.
If there were,
that's Trump derangement syndrome.
Yesterday, that he trafficked to.
Like, I'm sorry. What about Wexner being a child sex trafficker has to do with Trump? You want to tell me, Miss Bondi? Failed politician, but the people love Massey across party lines. What'd she say? She also called somebody a failed lawyer. I do have tyranny derangement syndrome. It's true.
Other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800
Don't
call
say that.
FBI.
Don't say that.
Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
Hey, what's up, Maddie?
I'm glad you're asking about Merrick Garland.
The whole administration has Trump derangement syndrome. All of MAGA has Trump derangement syndrome.
4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
now,
where the
I want to know, at what point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wessner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it back on the screen, please, to release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
May she answer?
Oh, God. Listen to how hard of a day Jim Jones is having. The time of the gentleman has expired.
Prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
May she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deep fake AI porn. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
The gentleman's time has expired.
She didn't answer the question.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, could she answer the question?
Chairman, I was wondering. The gentlelady's allowed, the Attorney General's allowed to respond the way she wants to respond to any member's questions, Republican, Democrat.
All right, I have unanimous consent request.
Gentleman's recognized for a UC.
All right, this is an example. I'm submitting these 302 forms that are entirely redacted, even when you go to look at them.
Without objection.
I'm submitting a witness statement that implicates Les Wexner.
Without objection.
I'm submitting an article from the New York Times that the DOJ released nude photos and identifiable pictures of the victims. I'm submitting a letter from A.G. Bondi to Kash Patel imploring him to quit keeping the files when you found out that they were keeping files from you? Because they're still redacting files that you...
Chairman, are we going to recess for votes?
Yes, we are.
I'm submitting for unanimous consent a document of 17 individuals who've resigned because of the Epstein files.
Without objection.
Bosses, love them. Those 17 people need to be recognized.
Just want to check on how much time we have left in votes, but one thing I've learned here of late that they'll wait on us. How much time do we have?
He's frustrated. He's frustrated. What else we got?
I have a UC.
Ms. Crockett from Texas is recognized for UC.
Thank you so much. Donald Trump's approval rating implodes on his strongest issue. This is from Newsweek today. It says 40% of people approve of Trump's handling of immigration and border security, while 60% disapprove.
Without objection,
that is a
admitted.
net drop
Now I recognize the gentleman
-20.
from California, Mr. Liu.
Oh, this is the real freak out.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today.
Let's go.
I'm going to show you two photos.
Thank you.
I'm going to show you two photos of former Prince Andrew.
I'm
Prince
sure
Andrew
Republicans are
attended
having
various
a
parties
hard
with
time right now.
Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face.
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties."
Oh my God.
These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before.
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Never
I agree with
mentioned
you. I agree with you. During,
Were
the
you not
Biden,
here
during the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta. A whole string of failures, but you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
Can I answer
question.
your question about protecting
You
Prince
answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's the video.
Don't get me copyright claimed.
Like former Prince Andrew,
I
Donald
neighbor his
Trump
district. I
attended
like this
various
guy.
parties
Robert Garcia
with
is my rep.
Jeffrey
He's too
Epstein.
corporate for my taste,
I
but
want
he's
to
doing a
know,
good job on the
were there
oversight
any
committee.
underage
Yeah, Ted Lieu does good
girls
work.
at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous,
Oh,
and that they are trying to deflect
poor baby.
from all the
Oh.
great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time.
be
I got your
released.
answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please
Trump
stop the
to
clock.
sign
Stop the clock.
the legislation. This is
Time.
I'd like to reclaim my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center.
I love the defense of, this isn't fair. They're being mean. I'm having a hard time.
Because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump
throwing a
around
literal
limo.
tantrum.
He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop a limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000
Can we stop referencing
sex
hell
trafficking
in
victims,
Congress, please?
and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
May you rot in the ice prisons of Friggoth. Don't you ever accuse me of a crime, ma'am. I'm not voting for them unless they promise to put you in prison. Don't you ever accuse me of a crime. I didn't lie. I've never lied. Except maybe at the time where we said that there was no evidence to continue an investigation to any third parties that were cooperating with Jeffrey Epstein. There just weren't any that we were looking at when we said it.
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not ask a question,
He
Mr.
doesn't
President.
You're allowed
want to talk
to.
about
I did
the
not ask a
horrific
question.
crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in his
She
state.
can't just
Madam Attorney
ad-lib.
Oh, God. Yeah, we're here to talk to you about the crime in California. That's what we're here for, Pam. That's what we're here for.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Attorney General Bondi, right here. We are joined in this room by some of the thousands of survivors from Jeffrey Epstein's horrific sex trafficking ring. They have shown such incredible courage in speaking out, in demanding accountability to bring the predators and pedophiles to justice. The Epstein Files Transparency Act required your Department of Justice to disclose the perpetrators connected with Epstein's criminal activities and to redact the information of survivors to protect their identities. Let me show you what actually happened. First, in violation of the law, your department has shown a pattern of redacting the names of powerful predators.
Did you think
Here
we
behind
wouldn't
me
notice?
is one example of an email from Epstein
Or is
to
it just a
man
matter of
whose
causing a
name
bunch of
was
drama on the
redacted.
front end
The
so the
email
back end
reads,
isn't,
quote,
like, you have
"Where
more
are
time
you?
to figure out what to
Are
do
you
with the back
okay?
end?
I loved the torture video. Only after members of Congress demanded that we
But
see
there's a guy in the
unredacted
emails that
files,
says he
did
has
the
a
world
show
learn
called
the
Torture.
name of this individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial ties to President Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisors.
Back it up. Hold on.
President Trump's business
here.
and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. Second, the survivor unredacted files. Did the world learn
It's just
the
a good
name
reaction
of
right
this
there.
individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial
there's no such thing
ties
as a fall
to
guy with
President
this.
Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. Second, the survivors were not similarly protected.
At this
also
point, you
in
just keep
violation
digging.
of the law. Here is another email titled Epstein Victim List. We have blurred the names of the survivors for their protection, but
Which
your
is something you
Department of
didn't do.
Justice initially released this list of 32 survivors' names with only one name
God
redacted,
damn.
along with numerous
You know, I gotta wonder if that was intentional stochastic terrorism. Do you think that was intentional stochastic terrorism? Were they hoping people would go shut these women up so that they, or women and men, I don't know, go shut them up so that no one could testify against this regime? Part of me feels like it might have been. I'm glad no one took them up on the offer. Might be overestimating or just getting their hopes up too much on how willing their side is to go along with child sex trafficking. I'm glad that we're not that far down. I wouldn't have been surprised if we were. God, could you imagine if like these names just started showing up in the newspapers? I wouldn't have been surprised, because it feels like that's where we're at, but I'm glad to see that we're not. You know, some victims have not made it, and as we keep seeing in the files, people we never even knew about. So, monsters. The DOJ committed stochastic terrorism.
files that disclose not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also
This guy's
nude
how we all feel.
photographs and
This
even
guy's
the
how we all feel.
identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names. Survivors are now telling us that their families are finding out for the first time.
Y'all seeing this model back here? He's getting his portfolio pics in. Even if you didn't believe the Sasha Riley story before, like, I consider it a little more heavily now. I remember joking about Wayfair in 2020, but look, look, Maxine. Forgive me, I'm not familiar with Sasha Riley. Let's find out. A 1, a 2, a 3. The world may never know how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. Oh, okay. I have heard this story. Their audio? I didn't know there was audio of it. I had just heard the rumor going around. Allegedly. Right. Where is this audio? I don't know if I want to play this audio. Well, whatever.
That they were trafficked by Epstein. In their words, quote, "This release does not provide closure. It feels like a deliberate attempt
The
to
only people with
intimidate
TDS are MAGA.
survivors, punish those who came forward, and reinforce the same culture of secrecy that allowed Epstein's crimes to continue for decades." To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing,
Sounded like
please
whack
raise your
YouTube page.
hand
I'll send it to you
if
on Discord
have
just in case.
still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi.
Yeah, but
You
Pam,
apologize
what's
to the
going on?
survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them
Because
now
at a different time in this
and
hearing, you
apologize
do
for what
say,
your Department
if
of
any
Justice
victim comes
has
forward,
put them through
you will
with
hear the testimony.
absolutely
That
unacceptable
also
release
seems to have
of the
been
Epstein
lying under
files
oath.
and their information.
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General
Twice.
Bondi.
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a
Attorney General,
specific question
the Attorney General
that
can
I would
respond to your
like
question.
you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't
It is
like the
my
answer.
time.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't
a
she ask
question.
Merrick Garland this?
I
Twice,
am
when
reclaiming
he
my
sat in my
time, and when
chair.
I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the
my
gentlelady's
time.
reclaimed
I'm
her
not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say
I'll
this.
direct it to
What
you.
a massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a
Mr.
question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness is
I'm not
interrupted.
going to get in the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing
and
theatrics.
let me have my
The
time.
gentlelady from Washington controls the time.
I forgot the rule about getting in the gutter in congressional hearings. I totally forgot about that rule where like somebody who's giving testimony can just say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to answer because it's theatrical. I forgot that one. I'm glad Pam Bondi reminded me. She is an expert on the law after all.
The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final
Thank you.
17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up.
Proceed with your seconds. You can.
Sorry, I like Jim Jordan's use of the gavel here.
You can proceed with your final
Thank you.
17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be. Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files.
Oh, I just like that you can interrupt anything anybody's saying because you don't want to get in the gutter because of theatrics. You can just shut them up. You can just shut up the Congress people.
The center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only
Regular
to
order.
then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Ghislaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up. And I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level,
Chairman,
The chair now recognizes the chair.
on what you have done.
The time of the
I
gentlelady
yield
expired.
back.
The gentlelady, you have no time to yield back.
Theatrics.
We appreciate that. We appreciate the.
Good one, Jim. You nailed it.
Thought.
Support journalism.
Well, you have no time to yield back. Oh boy. Was there anything else in here? AG Pam Bondi gets in a yelling match with Representative
President, in
Bennett?
fact, did know about his ties because he was the next door neighbor.
Shame on you.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
You're
this
from
is
a tiny,
pathetic. This
beautiful
is
state.
pathetic, Mr.
Committee will
Chair.
be in order.
I am not asking trick questions here.
You
The
got your
American
5
people
minutes.
have a right to know the answers to this. These are senior officials in the Trump administration. This is not a game, Secretary.
I'm Attorney General.
My apologies, I couldn't tell.
She's like, are you gonna...
in a draft indictment from Florida against Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirators. For reasons that I cannot understand nor are permitted by the bill, they were still redacted, even for members of Congress. So, Ms. Bondi, will you commit right here to immediately providing those 2 documents in unredacted form to members of Congress? Not a complicated question.
Well, I guess it is for you because you have a law degree and those are privileged.
Sorry, what was that?
Those two documents in unredacted form to members of Congress. Not a complicated question.
Well, I guess it is for you because you have a law degree and those are privileged.
Who's the client? I guess I don't know how this works, but I'm pretty sure the client is the United States and Congress represents the United States. I would be interested to know how that works.
Kash Patel under oath said Trump's name appears less than 100 times in the files. We now know that's not true. Trump's name appears more times in the Epstein files than God's name appears in the book about God. Okay, by the way, this is the Trump Bible. Move over, King James. Trump's name...
You don't tell me anything, you washed up lawyer.
You can filibuster all day long, but not on our watch. Not on our time. No way. And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will
Washed
be in
up
order.
loser lawyer.
Get back at least 45 seconds. We will give you a few more seconds. I said that already. 45 seconds. Okay.
Damn. Damn, guys, it was a wild day. You don't tell me. You're not my dad. Trump is my daddy. He's the only one who tells me anything. He's the only one that will pay attention to me and tell me I'm pretty.
There are questions about those children, but it's a different thing. The fact is, ICE is running rampant, and you are not investigating them. When they killed Mr. Prete, and Miss Good, that was an execution, and you did not investigate it. And you tried to investigate her, Miss Good's widow, and you tried to investigate Mr. Prete. They were executed, like Kristi Noem executed her dog. And that was wrong. And you should investigate those people, and you should investigate anybody that uses a weapon.
Just a little fun throwing shade at Kristi Noem in there. Bridge Makara, hey, what's up? It's kind of funny. The first thing I see is, what does the political right have left to offer? Like they had anything to offer to begin with? Is that my stream title? Oh, wait. That dogline was fire. That's not my stream title, is it? Pretty sure I changed it. Oh. Need another window. Yeah, stream titles, it's cover-ups all the way down. Where do I say, what does the political right have left to offer? Oh, it's, oh, I see. Ah, yep. I should know what my own thing says above my head. Yep. Damn, it's been too long since I've read that thing. Okay. Well, okay, what is said in this?
Will you create a joint task force of the Department of Justice and governors and state attorney generals and district attorneys across the country to investigate the crimes that have taken place against these victims and more than 1,000 like them? The DOJ is not doing its job. Will you create a task force with state and local law enforcement to make that happen?
To be honest, the more I look at politics, especially American politics, the more convinced I am that the far right is a death cult pretending to be a political group. I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, to some degree, Christianity is a death cult, and the far right tends to be like Christio nationalists. That's, yeah, I mean, y'all, you've seen the penguin video, right? That Donald Trump is the penguin that walks off on its own. Like that's a good thing. No. We don't want to follow that penguin.
Gentlelady can respond if she wants to.
Thank you, Chairman. He called Chase Mulligan a wild goose chase and didn't even know who he was. He is a defendant in your own district who preyed on girls.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, you know what? If he were part of the Epstein investigation, you wouldn't do anything about it.
Online chat rooms and committed sex.
Have y'all heard the rumors that Epstein might be alive? Y'all heard that one? Based on Fortnite, of all things? All right, have we run out of good clips? The thought had never occurred to me. But now I'm thinking about it, like, Trump was president. Why have him killed if you can just have him removed? House Republicans call for investigation into Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show over widespread twerking, grinding, and pelvic thrusts. Crockett. Have we seen Crockett yet? Man, I've lost track at this point. Oh, Little Pound Cakes shared something.
I am increasingly disgusted.
Oh. Wow, that's 17 minutes of video. What we got in here? Yeah, I don't know, Little Pound Cakes. Trump is my god. He's my dad. He's my dad. And when I come home late, like the teenage girl I am, I need Daddy Trump to spank me just like any good MAGA does. That's what we want. Tucker Carlson said so. Maddie, do you have the clip for me? The account was made after his death was announced. Actually, no, it wasn't made. It was renamed to Littlest Jeff. That's odd. So it wasn't just hacked. Like, you would expect someone to just hack it, but somebody renamed it? Why would you rename it at that time? So we can show, give him blue vials. What? I'm missing something here. Just Epstein coverage, not hurting my feelings, just throwing out links. No, someone renamed their own account to Littlest Jeff 1 to pretend Epstein was still alive. But haven't we seen in the files that he has a Fortnite account? And isn't it that account that is the one that has been seen active after his death? Am I wrong here? Well, I'm going to look into it. We'll see. Jeffrey Epstein is not actually alive and playing Fortnite. So it says Epic Games? Well, they're in on it. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. I don't need Epic Games up in here. We resurrect Epstein and he agrees to the files. We can shut the Republicans up. Thousands of victims don't matter. We need real proof. It's probably not something that the Fortnite social media team ever thought it would need to address in public. Epic Games, the developer behind the mega popular Battle Royale shooter, had to set the record straight regarding the idea that deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein is still alive and playing Fortnite. The company's comms team took to X to publicly denounce the conspiracy theory, which had gained some traction online over the past few days. If that wasn't enough, Epic CEO Tim Sweeney put another nail in the coffin with a post of his own. So, I need to get y'all's thoughts on this. What Epstein and Maxwell, like I guess Maxwell was imprisoned later. But they killed Epstein and Maxwell gets pampered treatment. Why the different treatment? And of the two, I would expect if somebody needed to be used as a message, it wouldn't be Epstein. That would be my thought, unless they thought that they could convince the public that Maxwell was a victim, but I don't feel like they ever really tried to do that very hard. To tell the truth, I don't think they have any reason to undergo the massive risk to fake Epstein's death when they can just kill him. Well, yeah, sure. I mean, if we do the right thing, us will be vulnerable. Think about it. Matthew Powell, Matthew Powell, I didn't even realize that I was talking to you. Hi, welcome. U.S. will be vulnerable. What are you trying to say? If there's one thing the U.S. government is known for right now, it's incompetence. They couldn't even get people to think he killed himself. True. Very true. And we find out new things about that quote-unquote suicide every few months. If we really hold everyone accountable, we would implode. I don't buy that. Why would we think that? Why would we think that? How many people in positions of power do you think are in the Epstein files? When to attack an event? Enemy? Dude, are you just putting words in the chat box? It feels like you're just throwing words in the chat box. When to attack an event? I don't understand what that means. Okay. Yes, please do. Matthew Powell, like at this point, like when to attack an enemy when they are weak. What about prosecuting Epstein co-conspirators would make the U.S. weak? How would that make us weak? You're going to need to do some shoring up of that claim. Start it. If our country imploded and started that branch. What implosion, Matthew? What implosion are you saying that we would have? Why would there be an implosion? Matthew Powell, can I ask what your political affiliation is? That's not an implosion. You just described evidence. What's the implosion? Great. Remove him. We're worse off with that president in power. We are in a weaker position with him in power than with him in power. Wait, sorry, than with him out of power. Also, Epstein, 1, doesn't have many years left. 2, absolutely blackmails his clients. And 3, is now the most well-known man on the planet. If I was one of the PDF billionaires in the files, I would have had him killed before he was even arrested and gotten a new guy. Yeah, you're right. I was just kind of assuming that he had friendships with some of these people. But you're right. He was blackmailing people, so somebody wanted him gone with that opportunity. You're right. You're right. The dirty commies take over. Sure, why hasn't it happened? Why hasn't what happened? Removing him? Because Republicans suck. They suck. Remove Bill Clinton? From what? What do you want to remove Bill Clinton from? Matthew, did you inherit RFK's brainworm? Unless if the entire chain of command within the United States military down to the janitors is in the Epstein files, you wouldn't make the U.S. vulnerable by release. Yeah, no shot. Okay, so you do want to punish everyone in the files. And it wouldn't make America, it wouldn't put America in a weak position. Yeah, for sure. So you're not on the political right. Yes, it would put America in a weak position. How? You have yet to explain this, and that's the part that I'm dying to hear. Oh, so you are on the political right. You just continue to support these people for some reason. Oh, I do see that the right is full of at least people who will protect child diddlers. I'm not going to accuse them all of being them, but support no one. Cool. I'm glad between a person who protects child diddlers and someone who doesn't, you would say they're like both sides are equally bad. It's not like anyone would want to invade the United States anyway. It's like keeping a diseased gorilla in your living room that eats money and suffers chronic diarrhea but savages you every time you try to give it free healthcare. No, we're not all bad. That's just a silly-ass thing to say. The people who want to help everyone, they're bad. The people who want to give everybody affordable healthcare, they bad. Or, state paid for healthcare, they bad. People who want to give people workers' rights, they bad. The people who want to defend people's rights to equality, they bad. Nah, we're not. I wouldn't even say everybody on the right is bad. A lot of them are just misinformed. The way I see it, the entire political philosophy of the far right hinges on the faraway, glorious vision for the country, free from degeneracy, which justifies inflicting unlimited harm and suffering upon anyone and everyone in perpetuity, including themselves. Yep, they just keep shooting themselves in the foot while their foot is stamping on our foot. In what way am I bad, Matthew Powell? I'm willing to accept claims when evidence is provided. What way am I bad? And Matthew seemingly wants to try to equate this to the left. Well, I'm sorry, Matthew, we're talking about politics. That's kind of the thing at play here. We are in a spiral of fascism because of politics. People are losing their rights constantly because of politics. Matthew seemingly wants to try to equate this to the left, and they're not comparable. They're not comparable at all. Believe it or not, Matthew, there are people who think good things are good and bad things are bad. Yeah, it's wild. The stream category is politics. We're not here for straw nihilists. If I stayed here this long, that's on me. LOL. Okay. Yeah. Do you want to talk politics? You're welcome to talk politics. The person who I was supposed to talk to tonight doesn't seem to remember that they were supposed to be up here. You don't know politics. Are you American? You swing what to God? Do you vote? Alabama. One of the most welfare queens of states, if not the most welfare queen of states. The most dependent on blue states of states. I hate to say I'm not surprised, but I'm not surprised. They don't teach complete thoughts in Alabama. Matthew Powell, do you vote? Austin can just give you dad advice and tell you how to change a tire. No politics here. I wouldn't presume to give you advice on how to change a tire. I can change a tire, but I would like sit there and go, do I even do it right? I don't know if I want to teach somebody to do it the way I do it. I just kind of get by. You do not. Well, at least there's that. I appreciate your willingness to step outside of the political ring when you don't know anything about it. Do you support a move toward making the United States government bringing it under a Christian umbrella such that the federal government represents Christianity? And neither side, they all lie. Well, when you have two things instead of all of the people that exist under those two things, it is a lot easier to say that there are instances of lying under both. It's kind of hard to claim that every politician tells lies. It's kind of hard to say that. As much as we say it like it's a fun cliche. Oh my God, I'll change your tire. I mean, yeah, I could just do it instead. I just won't teach you how. You have proof that every politician has lied. You have proof that every politician has lied? You should write a book. If you have proof that every politician has lied, that book would do well. It'd be a fun little coffee table book. Like, here are all the lies that every politician has told. That's a great coffee table book. Maddie, the point in question is whether all politicians have lied. Matchy Pal, let me just make my guesses. 25, male, white, skinny, drinks, doesn't smoke weed. 4chan user introduced to politics through anti-feminism. I don't know if he's been introduced to politics. He kind of stumbled in here accidentally. YouTube compilation of president. Do you think the president is every politician? I agree. I think somebody who wants to wield the executive power of the most powerful country in the world, probably not a great person, probably will lie and probably has lied to get there. Because if you're willing to wield executive power, you're probably a shithead. But if you're going to be a congressperson, that doesn't mean you have to be a shithead. Lots of people are civil servants and act like civil servants as lawmakers. I think people lie. Well, okay, do you mean bad lies? Do you think all lies are bad? Matthew, do you think the Bible should be taught in school? World's largest book? It's a great coffee table book. You could make a coffee table for an entire gala. Everybody can put their drinks on it. I think withholding truth is not... I didn't say it. What? Are you talking about like state secrets? It's a roof bug. Come stay dry. Let people choose. Okay, so let people choose whether or not for the class to even exist. Should every school offer it as an elective? What if only like 3 students want it to exist? I'm just looking for an argument, I guess. Is that a snake on the front? What is this? What is this giant book? You didn't have home ec? I wanted that. Cool, dude. I wanted comparative world religions, and we didn't have that. That sucks. I wanted like a law course that didn't have that. That sucks. I think it's a lizard, is it? You're right, you're right. I had to turn my head. Maddie, do you want to work on the Constitution? I needed to know how to taxes. Well, for most people, it's just take the standard deduction and percentage of your income. It like TurboTax will walk you through it. You're packing. Where are you going, Maddie? Tell everyone in chat exactly where you're going, Maddie. Yeah, we all are you. Guess you're privileged? Who's I mean, I am privileged, sure. Family wedding? Oh, fun. That's very cool. Oh, you know what? I haven't announced it yet. I got a call off Saturday or Friday stream. That's gonna be my Valentine's night. So no Friday stream this week, unless I say otherwise. Yeah, things could change. Wasn't expecting to have a Valentine's night, but here we are. I get wanting like minds, but you know that people aren't as lucky. What? I don't know. I expect to have fun. Yes. It'll be a good time. First date was great. I expect second date to be great. Matthew Powell, what do you mean? I get wanting like minds, but, comma, you know that people aren't as lucky as me? Can't all afford to be saved as fast. What do you mean saved? In what way? Like, how do you mean saved? By Christ? Because Christ did, like, when I bought weed from Christ, he did tell me that, like, in the bag there was salvation. So, I mean, I guess I did. I did feel lucky. Here's my stance on politicians lying. Yes, they lie constantly on both sides, and who's they? All of them? I hate saying as a universal thing that all politicians lie. I think some people are interested in just being civil servants. Yes, they lie constantly on both sides, and they've been doing it for so long that any politician that sounds like a politician is just thought of as a liar by default. This perception of politics as a theater of liars and devils has done unimaginable damage to politics. People don't care about policy anymore as much as they care about hype moments and aura farming. And thus, yeah, like, we've become extraordinarily nihilistic about politics, and so it doesn't matter what people support anymore because all of them are lying, and if they're all lying, then we don't care what they actually stand for. I just want the people on my side to dunk on the other side. If they can lie better and get away with it, we win. Why change your comfort? Matthew, you just say stuff that doesn't make sense. Lying is withholding truth. So everyone has to say everything all the time, or they are lying. Even though politicians lie so much, we can't afford to think of politicians lying as a universal constant. It's this poison of nihilism. Yeah, maybe we should all adopt the idea that we shouldn't just believe things without evidence. That I don't feel like it's that hard, guys. If you have evidence that somebody has told a lie, then call them a liar and keep record of that lie. But if people haven't been proven to be a liar, stop assuming they are. And then continue to support people that have records of not lying. But yes, things have changed a lot in terms of the press and public personas. Yes, we have to. Our social security number. Hey, Matthew Powell, do me a favor. I need you to add more context to your responses. Because when you just say things like yes or we have to, by the time somebody reads it, got no idea what you're talking about. That's not enough context. Now you're just saying a noun If we let ourselves think all politicians are liars, that this will only make ourselves stop caring about truth, and thus politicians can make more lies, bigger lies, and no one will actually care about the lies because, oh, he's a politician, they all do that. And then we only care about what kind of plays they make, what kind of dunks, what kind of fun nicknames that make fun of people. My burger having no pickles. Oh, okay, you're a commie. Got it. Matchy Pal, you just could have said you were a commie earlier. Hey, a Karen commie, that's sure. Karen commie who believes in Jungian psychology, like, go 911. Go 911 Red Flyers. I love that team. Comrade Karen, we are here. Hi, Masselhoff Manifesto. Masselhoff's Manifesto. Dude, are you All Might? Yay, Massey made it in. Oh, good. This is a good person. I mean, I could use somebody like William was supposed to come back on and talk to me some more about William's crazy ideas. And he can tell us all in voice chat that he loves brown women. That was some fun in Discord. Massel Grand Moff Tarkin. Wow. Oh yeah, we had a righty in Discord who, like, Maddie shared a video and he just said, well, that brown woman is cute. Or that black woman is cute. And he said, I'm just attracted to brown women, he said. What the fuck? No one asked. We don't want to know your fixations. Okay. Masselhoff Manifesto is rating. Wow. Hi, Masselhoff, thank you. With your party of one. And then he dug in even harder. Yeah. Until I stepped in. He was having a field day arguing with me until he friend requested me. And I told him that I was Know Nothing. And he was like, wait, I thought Know Nothing was one person. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And he was like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I was just joking around with all the things I said. It's good, Masselhoff. I appreciate you being here anyway. Enjoying our first, so not our first, our second day. It's our first second day. Our first second day as affiliate. It's great. Now I feel like I get raids because I am a streamer. I can say I'm a streamer. Can't troll here anymore. Be back next time to troll. Solid stream. Oh, thanks, Matchu Pal. Like, I don't really, like, bite on troll stuff. Like, I'll read it out. I'll engage with it, but I'm just gonna have a good time with it. Actually, no, that's way too easy. Do you think we'll get self-driving cars, net zero emissions, or World War V first? What's happening? Yeah, what do you think we'll get first? Self-driving cars, net zero emissions, or World War III? Well, what do you consider a self-driving car? What does it have to be able to do to qualify? He's out of Florida. We were watching the Bondi crash out. Who's out of Florida? Masselhoff? I mean, you could say we already have self-driving cars. They just don't have to be very impressive. Oh, I'm sorry, Masselhoff. I feel you, brother. I'm in Texas. It's a hard time. Okay, we're working on the Constitution. Okay, let's get... I don't think we had a resolution as to how many chambers we should have in Congress, but... Alright, U.S. Constitution. Yay, this is what Maddie enjoys. This is what Maddie's here for. Love of the game. The Constitution drafting game. Bicameral. So we're just gonna... Okay, alright. Yeah. Oh, God? What? Yes? How can I help you today? How is Pam... Oh, hi, it all costs money. How is Pam allowed to still practice law? When do we, the people, actually take back our country from the oligarchs and fascists? How do we do it? Well, I think there are two ways to do it. You either, through political pressure, prevent the Republicans from just destroying this year's election. I don't know how successful that will be. They may just lose interest in doing it if things continue to spiral out in the Epstein business. They might not feel like they have enough goodwill to actually do a coup of the country. So it's possible that you could do it that way and then just take everything back in November. But if you do it that way, you will not have fixed anything. So, in my opinion, we still need to have a constitutional convention, and everything that has happened in the past decade is just evidence that we need one. Period. Hello. Hello, any and all AI. Hello. Some Republicans are wanting to change from direct voting for governors and other top levels to a senatorial district electoral college system. Oh, that does sound nuts. That does sound nuts. We need to not have electoral elites. Electoral elites is a garbage idea. You lived with Pam for a while? What, in the same state? In your state of Kansas? Oh, God. And I thought the Texas Republican Party platform wanting to get rid of no-fault divorce was bad. They want to gerrymander the governor. State like a block away. Wow. You can't do it today. You can't do it tomorrow. You might not be able to do it for years. Which thing? Well, good. We need to be reminded of the monstrosities that lurk in the shadows and make us forget about them from time to time. So what do you want to do with the thank you. Thank you, Maddie. Keep me on track. My ADHD is so bad. Okay, so Article 1. Let's just copy paste Article 1, and then we can address whether we need changes in it bit by bit. Oh my God. Did I say last time that maybe we should address Article 2 first? What does everybody think about that? I feel like Article 1 exists as a restraint on Article 2. And so I feel like we might need to define what Article 2 is meant to do before... Well, just how does everybody feel? Like, should we do Article 1 first or Article 2 first? Which makes more sense? Because, in my opinion, the American government was designed to restrain executive force, so I think Article 2 kind of becomes the central thing that everything's built around. How many chambers do you want? 2. We'll just say 2 for now. And then people can argue with us, and then we can actually entertain other ideas. And maybe we can say it's worth coming back to relook at the structure. Okay, okay, let's do Article 2. All right, let's... Where did the document go? Okay, here it is. We can always... You know what? I actually think we should make the executive branch Article 1, and I think we need to add preambles to all of the articles. I think we need to explain what our intent is, like what our intent is in designing it the way it is, so that not everything has to be a statement of law. We can state our intent up front, and if we say up front in Article 1 about executive power, be like, this is the central pillar. It is not meant to be the strongest pillar, but it is meant to be the central pillar around which everything revolves, because the threat of government force is such a danger to the people's freedoms. Which branch do I want to be the strongest? The lawmaking branch. The lawmaking branch. The legislative branch. Our BBC branch. I want our BBC branch to be the strongest. I mean, Congress was always meant to be the strongest. You think it's supposed to be ordered in terms of strength. I know that's why they put it first. But I think we have the opportunity to keep the executive power in focus and put our reason why it's in focus. The legislative branch, I would put it second. Masselhoff, how can judges ever be the strongest branch? They only get to say what others meant. No, currently it's the executive branch. And third is judicial. It's legislative, executive, judicial. I can't believe, like, this is actually something we have to debate, and I'm sure this is something that they debated back then. I know it's why they had legislative first. I know that for a fact. They wanted to make it up front and center to show people that it's meant to be the strongest, but I don't think that has worked, has it? Yeah, SCOTUS wasn't even defined. The power of the SCOTUS was, like, not even defined. You think we have judges left? That's optimistic. So Maddie, let me put it to, and honestly, it felt like they just hit SCOTUS and went, meh, we're tired, let's do it live. That's true, that is what they did. Maddie, let me put it to you. Has putting what's intended to be the strongest branch in Article 1 proven effective in keeping in citizens' minds that it's intended to be the strongest? Has that been effective in making people remember? Liddy Bros, what's up? Misdemeanors is pretty broad in my opinion. Do you think any and all misdemeanors are enough to warrant instantaneous removal? Well, a misdemeanor is... Are you talking about impeachment? In terms of impeachment, a misdemeanor is not something that is defined as a crime that is a misdemeanor. It literally means something of maladaptive behavior. That's all it means, like bad behavior of the president. I think burrowing it will make it, well, I think burrowing it will make it even worse, but that could be in the preamble. Okay, like, I'm open to keeping legislative branch in Article 1 and just put a preamble up. These are equal branches, but some branches are more equal than others. We also need to not leave things undefined by, like, high crime. I mean, by the way, the reason why it's not just criminal misdemeanors that's mentioned in here is it says high crimes and misdemeanors. So most scholars would say that means high crimes and high misdemeanors. And those are things that are not legally defined. And because it's a constitutional term and originates in the Constitution, then, like, the legislature can't really define it if a judge can come back later and be like, that's not what they meant in the Constitution. So a high crime or a high misdemeanor would be something that is unique to the position that is committing it. That at least is my understanding, the understanding of the people that I learned under. A lot of people would disagree. A lot of scholars would disagree. A lot of scholars would say it's intended to be crimes, like actual crimes that are defined by Congress. But high crimes are not crimes. They are something that is unique to the office that can commit high crimes. And it's intended to not be defined. It's intended to, like, be something you can look at and be like, no, that's, yeah, you can't do that. Okay. I just saw what your Article 4 was, and you were listing grounds for removal. Did I read that correctly? Oh, I'm sorry. We just pasted this up here. We just took this from the Constitution. So I think what I'm gonna do. Why is this in blue? Oh, this is an amendment. Okay. So we can just get rid of amendment text in general. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to make all the current Constitution text, we're going to make that blue so we know that it hasn't been changed. And then anything we want to put in ourselves, we can make black, and that'll be like black letter law. It's from UK law. At the time, they'd have understood the reference. Now people are, but misdemeanors. High crimes and misdemeanors. The charge of high crimes and misdemeanors covers allegations of misconduct by officials. Offenses by officials also include ordinary crimes, but perhaps with different standards of proof and punishment than for non-officials. Right, and that's because we're not holding them to criminal punishment. Like, what is allowed to be defined as a crime is based on what its punishment is. A felony is defined by what its punishment is. A misdemeanor is defined by what its punishment is. A high crime or misdemeanor would be defined by what its punishment is, and none of those punishments have anything to do with criminal punishments. So it wouldn't make sense to hold it to any kind of criminal standard. Right. Yeah. And all that's at stake is removing them. We're firing them. And that's what I have to keep telling people. I'm like, you don't need like a huge standard for impeachment. Like, it's just firing people. Okay, where are we? Oh, there's the big book again. Okay, so Article 2, Section 1. So first we're gonna say, wait, yeah, we're keeping this as Article 2. Gonna do preamble. We're not gonna worry about wording right now. Wording is the boring part. Turns out you can just change the locks on the White House. Huh? All right, so preamble, we want to say the federal government of the United States of America was built on the philosophy of a limited executive power I don't have to worry about wording right now. We drafted this article with the intent to preserve that philosophy. How much does this hurt to realize that this is just ignored? I feel like Bondi could have been fired for incompetence today without Trump involved in this other shit. I don't even know what to say, I guess. Like, it really is just like we're being punished by a side that doesn't understand what's happening. They don't understand what's at stake. They don't understand what underlies our systems. They don't understand what facts are. And they just want to keep making us punching bags while they themselves are punching bags. If you could make the US monist or dualist, which would you select? Or would you go hybrid? I'm not familiar with those words. Are we talking about chambers? What are we talking about here? I'm happy to say I'm ignorant about stuff. Those are terms I know I should know, but I don't. Alas, alack. Feminism versus dualism. What? This seems like a philosophical thing. I don't understand how this is relevant. Okay. Alright, I'll just leave a preamble at that for now. The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. No, this is too broad. Oh, I don't want that. I want to highlight. We need to address this. It's too broad. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years and together with the president. Let's get... I want our... Hold on. Okay, so I've got our AI ready and handy. Okay. Provide a list of federal executive functions that would need to be divided out in order to create a robust executive branch. Ha! Thank you, Maddie. We need to make the entire thing gender neutral, and we are going to use first person they as yeah, no, not first person. We're going to use they as a singular pronoun. So, for example, whether international treaties become law upon signature. So, for example, Spain is monist as soon as they sign a treaty like ICSCR, it's instantly law, whereas Australia is dualist. We can sign every treaty we want to, but it only takes effect through ratification into domestic legislation. Yes. Thank you, Maddie. Third person singular, yes. So what would that look like in an American model, Liddy Bruz? Like under the current American model? Are we just saying that Congress has to pass a treaty? Our treaties ratified in the U.S. currently. President signs, then the Senate ratifies by 2/3. The House plays no role. Okay, yeah, I mean, I think in the type of system, like in an American system, it has to be dualist. It has to be. If you're going to make the legislature the most powerful branch, then the legislature has to perform the legislative function to pass a treaty. Oh my god, this is so many things. Okay, we got... Alright, maybe we break this up. We just break it up into categories for the moment, and we see how we want to divide those up. Okay. Where's my bullet list? Okay, so first up we've got military and national security. This needs to be different from the guy who I think is head of state. I don't think there is no reason why the head of state needs to be the commander-in-chief. Right? Am I wrong in that? Masselhoff, thank you for subscribing. I'm so honored to have you subscribe. I'm still so new at having that as a potential thing. It flusters me. Currently in the U.S. context, the Supremacy Clause says treaties are the supreme law of the land, but courts distinguish between self-executing and non-self-executing treaties. For example, case law that leaps to mind is Medellin v. Texas. That's why the U.S. is often described as a mixed system. So what's the difference? This is not an area of law I'm familiar with. We're not saying that states are involved in the process of treaties, are we? I'm guessing that was tied in with George Washington, who would be the leader of the military then. Like, it would have made more sense to me, like, if the Secretary of State, like, if Thomas Jefferson had been head of state and Washington had been commander-in-chief. Whereas if a constitution says treaties automatically become domestic law, that signals monism. So for example, in the Netherlands, we can look at Article 93 and 94, which explicitly gives self-executing treaty provisions direct effect and priority over domestic law, which signals clear monist structure. Okay, alright, I think I see what this is talking, like why the US is a mixed system, because federal law can only reach so far. There are certain things that are the domain of the states, so federal treaties can't impact the states unless the states adopt them themselves. I didn't study international law. I did not. Nobody was going to put Jefferson head of the military with Washington right there, for sure. But I think these need to be different roles. Do you think the roots find their way all the way down? What? Huh? Well, in a Gnosticism sense, there is no all the way down. It just keeps going. It reflects the highest above. I guess there would be an all the way down then, wouldn't there? Because everything comes from the monad. So there has to be an opposite of the monad in the other direction, right? Which I guess would be Yaldabaoth, and Yaldabaoth was cast down, so both versions of Yaldabaoth. Everybody loves Gnosticism, right? Do you think the roots, from the past to the present? Not following. Okay, I finished my law degree last year in Australia, but yeah, we have what is called the Priestley 11, and international law is a core subject. We have to study it to receive our LLB. I don't know how many other nations are built like the United States, but like, I'm sure like the European Union is a lot like this. Or like the larger body of government has only specific functions and things that are like things of local interest, things of like morals of the community at a closer level to home than and on the broad scale. Like those are things that are controlled by the states, and the federal government can't say anything about it. So when it comes to like, you know, like an environmental treaty, the federal government in the United States can only control like environmental policy so far as it touches interstate commerce, which I think we gotta fucking do away with the interstate commerce clause. We gotta figure out some other way to phrase that because it is so fucking broken. It doesn't make any sense anymore. Most EU countries are a hybrid, yeah, but some are clearly monist, like Spain and Netherlands. Generally, most countries that have a civil law system are closer to being monist than dualist. Should we reset a lot? Reset a lot of the Constitution? Yeah, I'm planning on tossing tons of shit. I'm gonna put Commander-in-Chief. What the hell? Commander-in-Chief here. All right, what's our next one? We got law enforcement and justice. Okay, now we're talking like, I think it makes sense to put this under an executive branch. But I think like neither the military nor the head of state should have anything to do with this. I agree, Liddy Bros. Like the amount of like global interconnectedness that exists in the modern era was not something comprehended in the 18th century. So we have to fucking deal with international law in the new constitution for sure. I also like the idea of an administrative branch, but I'm not sure if federal law enforcement. I mean, I don't know to how much it matters, but I guess we need to sort it for now to determine whether it matters. Federal law enforcement, I don't know if that should go under the administrative branch. Do you think it should, or whether it should stay under an executive branch? Because that feels like a purely executive like function. Because like these executive wings of the administrative branch aren't like writing pseudo law like other agencies are. Do we have a country copy or create something new? So right now, oh, like I see what you mean. Look, I am totally happy if somebody wants to go hunting and find good language that other countries have, then we can consider it. Like there is so much to pull from to try to come up with good ideas here, and probably a lot of criticism that we could pull from too. Like it'd be hard for me to figure it out on my own, so I would love for people to go hunting for things that they think are good ideas and good sources with good critique. I think each branch should have their own law enforcement branch. That, ooh, how do you prevent like war between the branches? India's constitution is probably the best one ever created. You got some specific policies in there. They're not military. I know they're not military, but if the branches of government can just go start arresting other branches of government, like I guess that gets taken to the courts to determine whether it was authorized, whether it was valid. Always got the military lingering. The biggest constitution in terms of length, that makes it the best. As the state of Texas, as a representative of the state of Texas, that does make it better. The executive branch was ignoring those edicts. Yes. So I agree that they do need their law. Let's incorporate that. I think that's a good idea. But like the CIA and FBI and NSA, should we have a separate executive, like an executive sub-branch that is national security, military, national security, and State Department? At the very least, it makes a lot of sense to me to have a separate executive head over the national security branch than the president. Like, you can't have these crossover powers. Damn. What? Well, for right now, I'm going to group law enforcement and justice. I'm going to put this under the executive branch, and we can have arguments about that later. Oh, but so a CIA kind of falls in a separate category, though. So I think the CIA it would make sense to me if the CIA was under the head of state, and the FBI was under a completely different person. Oh, for sure. But also not commanded by Republican presidents, at least. Pardon and clemency power. I don't know if that needs to exist. I don't know. Does anybody think the pardon power needs to exist? Why should one person have the authority to undo someone's judgment that was performed by someone who's educated in law? I think maybe the pardon power should only exist for the head of state when it comes to prisoners who are citizens of other nations. Like, in that sense, it could be used as a political tool in our international relations. Okay, we'll look up the way Germany handles pardons. You like what idea, Masselhoff? International citizens or looking up Germany? Okay. In Germany, the power to grant pardons is primarily held by the federal president for federal crimes and by state ministers president for offenses under state jurisdiction. How a pardon cannot be issued before a crime is committed, and it does not typically erase the conviction from the record. Executive pardon decisions are final and this sounds like the American pardon system. What's different? But also under the State Department, the power over the pardon should not be held by one person. I think the State Department should be able to pardon international citizens, but it should not be held by one person. Intranational citizens? Citizens of foreign nations. What was I putting here? Where do they... Foreign affairs and diplomacy. Okay. Foreign affairs and diplomacy. We'll have a head of state. Pardon power for foreign citizens. Not held by head of state. Fine with citizens of foreign nations, but too many in our nation. Huh? You're saying there are too many citizens of foreign nations in our borders to give this power to the State Department? What are you saying? All right, fiscal and economic management, budget proposal, tariff administration, tax collection administration. I think this needs to be in the administrative branch. I don't think there's any reason this needs to fall under executive powers. You want a stronger pardon system? Oh, we pardon too many. Well, I think that would be largely fixed by having a pardon body under the State Department. Maddie, what are you saying with you want a stronger pardon system? Oh, okay. Massey, do you think that having a body would solve that? Rather than one person holding the pardon power? Like, we're not going to fix the fact that governors have pardon power, but Germany decentralizes the pardon power better, in my opinion. For example, most clemency is handled at the state level, whereas in the US, the president holds sweeping, largely unchecked authority over all federal offenses. Okay, which in my opinion has led to more self-interested pardons. Germany's is better because it diffuses power and treats clemency as a restrained administrative safeguard rather than a personal executive weapon. Okay, good. I think we're good where we're at. Right, and federal crimes are not actually nearly as common as state crimes. They're just more covered in the news, I guess. Okay. Gotta think about this. State level is... We can't do anything about the state level in an American system. We can't. You have to do that from the inside of the state. With a constitutional convention, you can only change how the federal government works, and accept that you can define rights that the states can't violate. You know, you are right. I think that violates the intent of the Constitution. You could have a stronger federal government system, but what we're talking about is intruding into what the very nature of states is. And I think if you start taking powers away from the states in a draft of a federal constitution, you're going to start losing states in terms of accepting a draft. Like, did he want things that were on par with taking away governor's pardon power? That seems like a core state right to decide for itself. Domestic policy and administration? No, definitely not. No, agency creation is not an executive function. Except that, I mean, like, you need people there, I guess. That is not an executive function. Federal workforce management, public lands management, yeah, none of this needs to be under the executive branch. We are going about EU-American politics secretly. Under Hamilton's system, senators and a national governor would be chosen by special electors and wouldn't serve for life. Okay. And would serve for life. Members of an assembly would be elected directly by citizens. Each member would serve a 3-year term. State governors would be chosen. state governors would be chosen by the national governor? No wonder that was shot down. In the 18th century? Are you fucking kidding me? Hamilton, what the fuck, dude? What's the US equivalent of the cabinet? Yeah, I guess I gotta know what the international meaning of the term cabinet is. I mention it because Australia has a pardon power too, but it's only on the advice of cabinet, and then exercised through the governor general. Yeah, that would be hella corrupt. He loves strong centralized government. Cabinet are the ministers who are selected from the legislature. Okay, yeah. In America, those are just directly chosen by the president. The Senate has to consent, supposedly. Yo, post-Civil War? What post-Civil War? The very next line is, although his fellow delegates politely listened to Hamilton's proposal, it received endorsement from no one. Yeah, no shit. The identity of the states in the 18th century was like, they were their own nations, basically. They were. That's how they saw themselves. You are not going to get any support for that. I gotta wonder, like, what did Hamilton want? Like, what? I guess he just wanted, maybe he just believed that they could all just be one. They could all be one together. Maybe he was just super hippie about it. Appointments and personnel? Oh, that's interesting. The inspectors general need to be their own branch. The way we bent over for the South, that's why we bent over post. Oh, well, yeah. To be fair, he's watching the Articles of Confederation crash and burn. I mean, okay. Fair. He just seems so out of step with everyone. I don't think, like, that was on no one else's mind, so. Information and transparency, that needs to, does that need to be its own branch? Should inspectors general be under a completely separate branch? Just have a branch that's devoted to governmental transparency and what's the word I'm looking for? Fiscal responsibility? Yeah, government police. Yeah. You want to know who chooses it? Who chooses what? I mean, we are going to have to come up with like a separate system for how these are all selected. And like as soon as you start having like a whole bunch of like elections, that it gets out of hand. But I guess right now I'm working off an ideal of how I would like them all set up if I could just imagine that all elections would work swimmingly. We need a bank. Oh man, I am not economically educated enough to have any say on this. The postal system in the UK has a bank? Emergency powers. Oh god, I hate that word. So people can have their own bank accounts with the state? I guess if the state You wouldn't have to have an FDIC, I guess. None of us are. Just remember that we were smarter than the people that chose this. None of us are what? I think it's this song that always makes me move my fucking shoulders. Postal saving systems provide depositors who do not have access to banks a safe and convenient method to save money. Many nations have operated banking systems involving post offices to promote saving money among the poor. What does it have to do with the post office? I mean, that's good. What should that be under? An administrative branch? Sounds like an administrative function to me. Who operates the postal service? You could argue that we aren't smart, but we are smarter than the forefathers. Okay, that's fair. A lot of them have studied economics, though, and I have not studied economics to any significant degree. Damn. I'm still trying to figure out the information and transparency thing. Like, I think I want it siloed. At least, like... Ideally, I would want something in charge of information and transparency siloed from any other branch of the government, so that like it runs completely independently without any other branches say. Though you would have to have like a committee in the legislative branch that was in charge of overseeing the information and transparency branch. That way somebody's watching, like, who watches the Watchmen, you know? Important to note that it's not perfect. This leaves to mind. British Post Office scandal. Audit, investigations, inspections, reports. Yeah. Okay, so they're just gonna go... I guess I'll just move this. The General and Inspector General generally. Alright. Well, for sure, Maddie. We just need, like, I just didn't want to say specifically, like, I was like, I think transparency and information needs to be siloed, but like you can't have it like completely siloed because somebody has to be able to investigate them and check on their transparency. And you're a victim of the Watchmen. And in what way a victim? Like you had to watch it? You had to read it? Alan Moore hurt you in some way? Okay, emergency powers. I think a committee of the legislature has to be the one with emergency powers. There can be like a head person on that committee, but that committee has to be able to overrule the person in charge in that committee. And that way the emergency powers committee can give and take away powers from whoever they're giving emergency powers to. I don't think any one person should hold all the emergency powers. I think emergency powers should be able to be given to specific people for specific purposes. Does that make sense? Does that hold? I'll do a whisper to you. Welcome to Constitutional ASMR. Now we're determining who is in charge of ceremonial and representational powers. Seems like a bullshit thing that we have to worry about, but I guess we have to assign it to somebody. Ooh, who signs legislation? That is actually a good question. Do we need an executive to do that? Why should the executive? I mean, I guess it needs to be somebody generally, like, voted by the American public at large. That makes sense to me. Alright, what we have so far is the Commander-in-Chief, we have the National Security Head, and we have the Head of State. Between the three of those, none of them make sense to me for who should sign legislation. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? Oh, okay. Well, how about this idea? Whoever we have in charge of the administrative branch, whatever that position is called, that person should be the individual who signs legislation. They should be elected on the federal level. Again, we're dealing with the possibility of too many elections, but we'll see. Because currently none of our heads of the executive branch have any domestic policy powers. So I think the head of administrative branch would make the most sense to me. I'll stop doing ASMR. Maybe that needs to be one of the channel rewards. Somebody can turn on ASMR. And somebody can turn off ASMR. I'm going to give you some to you, a Project 2025 to invading moment in Florida from... Dude, Massey, what the fuck was that sentence? Massey. I'm too tired for that, man. Ugh. I'm going to give some to you, a Project 2025 to you, invading moment in Florida from Project 2025. Okay, I'm going to do that one ASMR and then I'll stop. I'm going to give you some to you, a Project 2025 to you, invading moment in Florida from Project 2025. What's next time? What, making ASMR a channel reward? Yeah, that's not a tonight thing. I wasn't talking about it being a tonight thing. Oh, okay. Hey, Maddie, did you understand that sentence? This sentence doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to give some to you, a Project 2025 to you, invading moment in Florida from Project 2025. Does the U.S. have a committee stage for the revision of bills after the first and second readings in the lower house before it goes to the Senate? I think... Man, I don't know my bill passage. I know there's so many opportunities for revisions. I think it just goes through multiple revisions until it's passed by one chamber and then it moves to the other chamber. committee, though. I don't know. I don't know that well enough. Signing legislation. Head of admin branch. No, this already ended. What else is here? Head of state functions. Yeah, well, the head of state. National spokesperson. Like, I would be totally fine. I think I would be totally fine with just, like, completely disempowering whoever represents the, like, America on the international stage. Like, you shouldn't be able to broker deals with this person and that, like, are binding on the United States outside of the State Department. I don't think that's a safe way of doing things. As we've seen with Trump having private meetings with Putin without a translator present. The national spokesperson / bully pulpit. I think that goes to the admin branch. State of the Union address. Admin branch. Representing the nation in mourning, celebration, and crisis. Okay. Okay. So what we've got right now is we've got 3 separate roles. And everything else goes to other branches of government. What's a good like shorthand term for information and transparency branch? What's that? Accountability branch. I'm gonna wrap this up in just a few minutes, guys, just so y'all know. The ITB. Oh, okay, thanks, Maddie. Like, I just want like a word that I can use. I think accountability is good. You're so smart, Maddie. Smart ass. Okay. Ignoring for the moment the potential issue of too many elections. Pose criticisms to a split executive branch with 3 core purposes and heads: military, justice, and state. Information branch. But that starts to sound like the NSA and CIA. I'm okay with, oh, Massey, are you talking to me? Do I need to go look at my, oh, nope. Well, if you haven't whispered to me yet, you can whisper to me, that's fine. All domestic policy is offloaded to a separate administrative branch, the head of which provides the and signs the legislation. All information and transparency is offloaded to a separate accountability branch that has its own accountability governed by a legislative committee. Oh, that is an unnecessary comma. Not that it would matter. All right. What kind of slaps to the face is this going to give us before I log off for the night? Oh, I didn't mention that. Hold on, pause. We need a separate article. The reporting branch. I like that. The reporting branch. Stop it. Research and reporting branch, the RRB. Okay. Curious what this whisper is all about. We need a separate article regarding emergency powers. I think depending on what specific power we're talking about, it should be assigned to a specific person. Then the head of a committed legislative or congressional, I'll use the term congressional committee on emergency powers can flip those switches on and off. The head can be overruled by the rest of the committee. We could set up an emergency power structure that includes the executive, but then a committee. I don't think, like, if the executive is the one receiving emergency powers, like, I don't think anybody that could receive emergency powers should have the authority to have any say on whether or not they are activated. I am leaving shortly. Committee could be the ones to activate them. The the congressional committee? Yeah. Well, I think if we're talking emergency powers, somebody needs to just be able to turn them on their own. A person needs to be able to decide. But I think having them be part of a committee would help solve the problem of that being abused. In that the committee could be like, okay, now that you've turned it on, no, we're turning it back off. Because the importance of emergency powers is that they can just go. When you say they in that sense, but yeah, I would have to think about the pluses and minuses of those two different things, like a 3-person committee versus a head that can be overruled. Okay, foreign policy, military action, law enforcement overlap constantly. Sanctions are a state function enforced through justice mechanisms with military backing. Counterterrorism lives in all three simultaneously. Who leads when a foreign nation harbors criminals who threaten national security? Well, and I guess in that case you just have a 3-person committee, don't you? You have the head of state. You have the head of the state sit down with the commander-in-chief, sit down with the head of national security, or head of like the Secretary of Justice. Oh, okay. Problem with that, I think, if I'm just imagining it, is you have to coordinate these people, right? How, like, what if they are in different places in the world and they're not able to contact each other? What if one person is MIA? Okay, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. You need either a clear hierarchy among the three or define mechanism for resolving conflicts between them. Sure. Okay, James Madison says the founders unified the executive precisely because divided command in wartime nearly killed the revolution. The Continental Congress trying to run a war by committee was a disaster. Well, yeah, we're not trying to do it by committee. I'm not saying you're wrong to split it. I'm just saying you need to answer the coordination question or you'll recreate 1777. The justice head is the most dangerous seat in this design. Prosecution authority is arguably more threatening to individual liberty than military command. Well, sure. But you can't have one person be in charge of both those things. It is minor. Yeah, like it's something we can easily hash out. Set it from the person who commands the military, which is good. That breaks the tyranny engine Freddie identified. But you need to think about what checks this person specifically. Who investigates the head of justice? If the accountability branch does, great, but the justice head controls the people who execute arrest warrants and enforce court orders. That's a leverage problem. It's always a leverage problem. That's not unique to this proposal. You've broken the sword away from the scales, good, but the person holding the scales can still tip them. What happens when the head of justice simply declines to prosecute allies? That's not a constitutional violation, it's prosecutorial discretion. You need to constrain that somehow. Go for it, Massey. The military head without diplomatic authority is dangerous in a different way. A military commander who can't negotiate is a military commander who can only fight. I just think both of those people need to be in that conversation, I guess. It's true, Maddie. It's true. You separated the gun from the mouth? I don't know that that's a good way to put that, Claude. This is wild phrasing. You've separated the gun from the mouth. Sometimes the threat of the gun is the diplomacy. You need a mechanism for when these two need to act as one. That's good point. These are good points. I'm glad we have these. Which, that's Franklin. This is where the real power quietly lives. Domestic policy touches every American every day. Healthcare, education, environment, housing, labor, infrastructure, taxation, administration. The person who signs legislation, delivers the State of the Union, and runs all domestic agencies is functionally the most powerful single office holder in this system, but you have separated them from the justice system. Fuck yes. That's what matters. And the military. Fuck yes. You've taken the presidency and moved most of its daily governing power here while calling the flashier functions the executive. You've created a prime minister and called them something else, that's not a criticism. It might be the right design, but be honest about what the office is. This person is the government for most Americans most of the time. Relationship to the legislature needs clarity. If this person signs legislation, can they veto? Yeah, they're domestic policy executive. If yes, you've recreated a president for domestic affairs. Yes. If no, they're essentially a legislative agent who runs the bureaucracy, closer to a parliamentary system. Either is defensible, but the choice has massive implications for the balance of power. Who confirms this person's appointments? They're appointing agency heads across the entire domestic government. That's enormous patronage power. I mean, not necessarily. I didn't say that. If the legislature confirms, you've built in a check. If not, this person can reshape the entire administrative state unilaterally, which is exactly the problem you're trying to solve. True. But we haven't gotten to Article 4 yet, so Article 4 will be its own monster. If not, this person can reshape the entire administrative state unilaterally, which is, yeah. What's the relationship to the budget? If Congress appropriates and this person executes the spending, you need to nail down what happens when they disagree about how money gets spent. Fuck you. That's how. That's literally what Trump exploited, the gap between appropriation and execution. Yep. Accountability branch. The legislative committee oversight creates a dependency problem. If the accountability branch's own accountability is governed by a legislative committee, then the legislature effectively controls the watchdog. What happens when the accountability branch uncovers legislative corruption? They're investigating the people who oversee them. I mean, a committee of them. That's a structural conflict of interest. You need the accountability branch to be able to investigate every branch, including whoever oversees it. Yeah, okay. Okay, James Madison, thank you. He's custodiet ipsos custodes. Who watches the Watchmen? Wow. Wow, thank you, James Madison. You've answered it with a legislative committee, but that just moves the question one level up. Who watches the committee? Classification authority is the sleeper issue here. If information and transparency lives in the accountability branch, does that include the power to classify and declassify national security information? Because no, I don't think it does. I think that lives in the Justice Department. Oh, don't slide it up so high. I'm sorry. I think I can just... Whoop. The fuck it? Wait, what are we... what is this?
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Financial Impact Estimating Conference. We're meeting today to address an amendment to limit government interference with abortion. But before we get started, let's go around and introduce ourselves.
Rachel Gressler with the House.
Scott Mock, EDR.
Azara Khan, Senate.
Chris Spencer, Governor's Office.
And I'm Amy Baker with ADR. So just to remind everybody what we're doing, we normally just go briefly over the notice that we've given. Everyone who's here today.
I didn't understand when we were first talking about it. So, like, what is this? Current IGs can recommend but not compel. Oh, that's interesting. If this branch can only report findings, it has the same toothlessness problem. If it can compel action, subpoenas with penalties, mandatory corrective actions, even removal referrals, then it's genuinely powerful, but powerful enough to be dangerous in its own right. I mean, there are so many things in the federal government that are powerful and scary in their own right, but if we just divide them up between enough people, then... This Project 2025 thing he was talking about, it's a little too late. Spencer's a fucking bitch. He doesn't know Spencer. In 2025 spent money on people. I actually like this design more than the others. Assigning specific emergency powers to specific office holders and requiring a congressional switch to activate them is structurally sound. It prevents any one person from self-activating extraordinary authority. The main criticism is speed. Some emergencies require response in minutes, not the time it takes a committee chair to convene. And you just need one person. Nuclear response is the obvious extreme case, but natural disasters, cyber attacks, and pandemic response also demand rapid action. You might need a tiered system. Some powers can be exercised immediately with mandatory committee review within hours or days. I think, man, I'm too concerned about this right now. I don't need to worry about this right now, but like I'm like a nuclear strike. Like obviously that there's a potential that there would need to be done quickly, or a response to a nuclear strike would need to be done quickly. Things that take extraordinary speed, I would still want a 2-key system. So I think if you can, maybe for something like that, you say, if any member of the committee approves the use, this kind of response, then the head of the military, the commander-in-chief, can turn the second key. The commander-in-chief can also refuse to turn the second key. They gave randos 45K an hour? What the fuck? Wait, what? Emergency power should definitely have a sunset. Like without continued renewal, definitely needs a sunset. The committee chair's gatekeeper is a single point of failure. If the chair is compromised, incapacitated, or acting in bad faith, the override mechanism of the rest of the committee takes time. Well, then, yeah, then you just have, like we talked about, a succession. Define what happens if the chair simply refuses to act during a genuine emergency. Also define what happens if the chair activates powers inappropriately. Who deactivates and how fast? Franklin Roosevelt says, I ran a war and a depression simultaneously. Speed matters, but you know what also matters? The inability to keep emergency powers after the emergency ends. Build in automatic sunsets. Oh, thank you. Roosevelt is here with us, Maddie. Every activation expires unless affirmatively renewed. Make the default state off. It's more important than who flips the switch. Big picture criticism. You've designed a system with 5 branches and a separate emergency framework. That's a lot of boundaries, which means a lot of boundary disputes. Your constitution needs a clear, fast mechanism for resolving interbranch conflicts. The current system uses the Supreme Court, and cases take years. You can't afford that with 5 branches potentially gridlocking each other. Who's the referee, and how fast can they rule? Fair. I think that's a good first real session where we weren't just arguing how to organize the chambers of Congress. And we've got plenty of things to work through. I think we addressed some of them as we were going through it, but I don't think it was pretty good. And then later we can deal with the issue of how do we fucking handle elections? How do we fucking handle elections? Do we have an election every year and just change which thing we're doing elections for? Now you know why Adams and Jefferson were lifelong frenemies. Having to work through this shit together constantly. About order of the articles. Yeah, I think writing a constitution is a super fun exercise. Oh my god. Massey. Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna cry. This is still so new and crazy. I've got subs. Oh my god. I've made $8 this week. Whoa. Whoa. We need to wait, where's my Nightbot? I brought Nightbot back. Ah, damn it. How do I... Huh. I don't know what's wrong. I unbanned it. I figured that would be all I'd have to do. Well, I guess I've got another thing I gotta deal with. Unban. Nightbot is not currently banned. $1,000. When would I ever get $1,000 donation? And I guess I have to start like making a pitch. Be like, I want to make events where I go out to like smaller communities where conservatives are the main voting base and have like a public discussion with people about why conservatism screws them over. I would like to actually go talk with people in person, and I think that would be a great way to use donations. Well, I've seen streamers get that too, but like huge streamers. I don't know about small streamers. How do I get my Nightbot? Integrations? No. Huh. Anyway, I guess I'll call it quits for the night. Yeah. I'm No Nothing Attorney. I know nothing, so you can too. Because it's only in embracing that we know nothing that we can actually learn anything. And that's what I aim to do every time that we're live. I hope to learn from you guys, and I hope you guys can learn along with me. And as always, I'm proud of you. I don't need to know you personally for that to be real. It's true, and you deserve to hear it. If only because life is hard, it's always been hard, and it always will be hard. But the way you face each and every single day, the way you do, is remarkable. So stay remarkable, and I'll see you guys Saturday night. I hope you have a happy Valentine's Day before you see me on Valentine's Day, and we'll have a fun Valentine's Day together. Thank you, Massey. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm glad that you made it in. Y'all have a good night. Rest well. Enjoy the next couple days. Bye-bye.